Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive.
Yeah.
This time we're going to be totally dissecting the news of Courteney Cox coming back as Gale Weathers for Scream 7.
Oh, yeah.
So we've got a ton of fan reactions from Reddit,
Yeah.
from Shire Box Office,
Of course.
horror movies,
Yeah.
and even our Scream itself.
Dedicated fans.
And on top of that, we've got this exclusive report from Variety
Ooh,
that
exciting.
we're going to be diving into.
All right. Let's unravel this.
Yeah.
This news has just set the Scream fandom ablaze with theories and speculation. I mean, it really gets you thinking about where the franchise is headed.
Yeah.
Especially after Scream 6.
Right. And all the behind the scenes drama and what the fans actually want from these new movies.
It's a whole new era for Scream.
It really is.
Yeah.
So let's just get right into it.
Okay.
Courteney Cox as Gale Weathers for the 7th time.
7.
Well, that has to be some kind of record, right?
I mean, you're looking at a horror icon. I mean, have we ever seen this kind of commitment before?
I don't think so.
I mean, the fans on Reddit are already comparing her to the greats.
I bet.
You've got Robert Englund as Freddy Krueger.
Okay. Yeah.
He comes close.
Yeah.
But he's only got 7 appearances.
Right.
If you count Freddy vs. Jason and Wes Craven's New Nightmare, along with all the Nightmare on Elm Street movies.
Sure.
Then there's Jamie Lee Curtis as Laurie Strode.
Oh, yeah.
She also has 7 appearances, but those are spread out across different Halloween timelines, not consecutively in the same story.
So it sounds like Gale Weathers officially takes the cake for most consecutive appearances
Yeah.
in a horror franchise.
It's official.
I mean, that's amazing.
It is. Yeah.
What do you think this says about her character? What does this say about Gale's place in the whole Scream universe?
Well, it's interesting because her staying power has really sparked this whole debate
Oh, I bet.
about how her character has evolved or hasn't over all these years and all these movies.
Yeah.
Some fans think Gale's ambition makes her really interesting.
Interesting how?
Well, she's not just a damsel in distress.
Oh.
She's not just running away from Ghostface.
Right.
She's always involved.
Oh, yeah.
Even if sometimes her choices, put other people in danger.
She's kind of morally gray.
Exactly.
She's not always the good guy.
Yeah, and you can't deny she's had some iconic moments.
Oh, my gosh. So many.
What are some of your favorites?
I was scrolling through Reddit the other day, and I saw all these hilarious comments about Gale's bangs from Scream 3.
Oh, yeah. Those are something else.
Right.
What were they thinking?
It's like people are hoping they make a comeback
Oh, my God.
in Scream 7.
Yeah, it would be amazing.
And some fans are even predicting that she's going to die in Scream 7.
Oh.
Maybe even be the opening kill.
That's dark.
I know.
But honestly, knowing Scream,
Yeah.
it could totally happen.
It could totally happen, but all jokes aside,
Yeah.
there's also a lot of discussion about, has Gale actually learned from her mistakes?
Yeah.
And is her character arc even satisfying?
That's a good point.
You see this whole cycle with her.
Yeah.
She starts out by putting her career first. She's willing to step on anyone to get what she wants. Then she faces the consequences. Maybe she almost dies.
Oh, right.
And there's this moment of growth.
Briefly.
And then boom.
It starts all over again.
Starts all over again.
Wow.
So it makes me wonder,
Yeah.
do you think a character needs to constantly change
Yeah.
to be interesting?
Right.
Or can you have a character that just sort of repeats these patterns?
That's such a good question.
Would be interesting that way.
Yeah. And I think it really depends on how those patterns are explored.
Okay.
How does Scream 7 handle her return?
Right.
Does she break free from the cycle? Or does she double down on all her flaws?
Yeah.
And become this cautionary tale about ambition and the price of fame?
I love that you bring up the whole cautionary tale thing.
Yeah.
It makes me think about her relationship with Dewey.
Oh, yeah.
That's been a huge part of her story.
Yeah, they've been through so much together.
They have.
From that first clash in the original Scream to, eventually falling in love.
Yeah.
And then, his tragic death in Scream 5.
Yeah.
I know.
A lot of fans are still not over.
Still heartbroken.
I saw comments on Reddit saying that Gale should have been the one to die.
Wow.
So Dewey could keep being a mentor to the new generation.
So what do you think about that?
I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
People love Dewey.
He was the heart of the franchise.
Yeah.
But it's also interesting to think about what Gale's survival means.
Yeah.
Like, does it mean she has unfinished business? Like a score to settle?
Oh.
Or maybe even like a path to redemption?
Redemption. I mean, especially with how some fans see her as profiting from Ghostface.
Oh, yeah.
With all her books.
Right.
Like, could Scream 7 really dive into that?
Totally. Scream is all about blurring those lines between victim and participant.
Right.
And Gale is both. She writes about the killings, but sometimes her actions lead to more killings.
That's true.
I mean, that could make for some really interesting commentary.
Yeah. But before we go too far down that rabbit hole, we have to talk about Neve Campbell and Melissa Barrera.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah, this is like a huge part of the conversation.
Absolutely.
It helps us understand the landscape of Scream 7.
For sure.
Campbell not coming back for Scream 6.
Yeah.
Because of the salary disputes.
Yeah.
I mean, that was like a shock to the fandom.
Definitely sent ripples.
Huge ripples.
Got the community.
Yeah, and then Barrera leaving the franchise.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, officially, they're saying it's because of scheduling conflicts.
Right.
But it sparked a lot of debate.
It has, for sure.
So a lot of fans are disappointed.
Understandably.
Especially losing the core four from Scream 2022 and Scream 6.
It feels like the franchise is at a crossroads.
Yeah, it does feel that way.
Yeah.
So what do you think Gale's return means for the future of Scream?
Yeah.
Is she going to be like a legacy character?
Oh.
To guide a new generation?
Right.
Or is this a sign that the franchise is holding on to the past?
Ooh, good question.
Too tightly.
Yeah. Oh, it's a tough one, for sure. I think Scream 7 could be really interesting.
Yeah.
Like a commentary on legacy sequels.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay.
And balancing those fan expectations with new ideas.
Right, because you can't just rehash the same stuff.
Exactly, and with Sydney gone.
And the core four.
Right, it's like Gale's the last one standing.
She is.
Facing Ghostface and the entire history of the franchise.
Whoa. Yeah, that's a lot of weight on her shoulders.
It is.
Do you think she'll, like, embrace that? Or will she be more, you know, jaded this time?
Well, if we look back at her journey, I mean, she's always been a survivor.
She has.
She's faced Ghostface, what, like 5 times now?
At least.
She's lost people she's loved.
Yeah.
And she always comes back fighting.
Mm-hmm.
But this time...
It's different.
It is, you know, she lost Dewey. Yeah. And that new generation she was starting to connect with, they're gone too.
That's got to leave a mark.
Definitely.
So what kind of legacy do you think she wants to leave behind? Will she try to protect these new characters?
Maybe.
Guide them through all the horror, like a seasoned, you know, warrior.
Like a Ghostface slayer.
Exactly. Or will she be more focused on just surviving?
Possibly.
Maybe even questioning if this cycle of violence can ever truly end.
That's deep.
I know, right?
You know, when I was scrolling through those Reddit threads, I saw a lot of people talking about Gale as a mentor.
Oh, really?
Yeah, some even suggested she could team up with Kirby.
Oh, you mean Hayden Panettiere?
Yeah. She's confirmed to be back for Scream 7.
No way.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Can you imagine?
Oh, my gosh.
Those two together.
Sharing all their wisdom?
With a new batch of Woodsboro teens.
That would be so cool.
I know.
But wouldn't that kind of soften Gale's edge? Like, would that something fans actually want to see?
That's a good question.
Or would it feel like a betrayal of her character?
I mean, her sharp wit, her ambition, you know, those are iconic.
Totally.
But maybe Scream 7 will explore a new side of her. Like maybe after everything, she's ready to use her experience.
To help others.
Yeah.
To help them avoid the same mistakes.
That would be a really cool evolution for her.
It would.
It would show that even someone like Gale can grow.
It can change.
And speaking of evolution.
Oh, here we go.
We have to address the Stab movies.
For
anyone who might not know.
Yeah.
Stab is the fictional movie franchise.
Right.
Inside the Scream universe.
That's based on the Ghostface killings.
Very meta.
It is.
Very clever.
But it's more than just a meta device.
It is.
It lets the filmmakers comment on all these horror tropes, audience expectations, and even sequels and reboots.
It's so self-aware.
Right.
I love it.
And it adds this whole other layer.
Yeah.
To the violence in Scream.
Oh, for sure.
Remember all those Reddit comments?
Oh, yeah.
About characters surviving like a crazy amount of stab wounds?
So many stab wounds.
It's insane.
I know. And some fans find it unrealistic.
Right.
They're like, it's just cartoonish. But others They see it as part of the fun. Like,
Yeah.
Scream knows it's playing with these tropes.
Yeah, like winking at the audience.
Yeah. Like,
we know this is ridiculous.
but that's what makes it fun.
Right.
I love that.
But this exaggerated violence also makes you think.
About what?
About what Scream is saying about horror.
Okay.
Is it celebrating these excesses, or is it critiquing them?
That's a good question.
What do you think? And what does this tell us about Scream 7?
It's a tough one because I think Scream walks this line really well.
It does.
You get the scares, you get the suspense,
right?
But you also get the humor and the meta commentary.
Oh.
As for Scream 7, it'll be interesting to see how they handle the violence.
Especially with a new director.
Right.
Will they try to capture that intensity of the original?
Yeah, like that rawness.
Yeah.
Or will they lean more into the meta humor?
Okay.
Which has become like a trademark of the franchise.
And how will that affect Gale?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, she's always been controversial.
Both in the movies and among the fans.
Right. Some people see her as strong.
A total badass, independent.
Refuses to be a victim.
Yeah. But others criticize her ambition.
Right.
They say she exploits tragedy for personal gain.
Yeah. She walks that line.
It's like she's the franchise itself.
Oh, wow.
Both a celebration and a critique of horror. That's so true.
It's wild.
It is.
So how do you think Scream 7 will navigate all that? Will Gale finally face the music?
All right.
Or will she just keep making the same mistakes?
Right.
Will she be a cautionary tale?
About ambition?
About fame?
Yeah. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, what do you think out there listening?
Is there redemption for Gale?
Or is she doomed to repeat the past? You know, it's funny, you could almost see a parallel.
Oh, yeah.
Between Gale and the Scream franchise itself.
How so?
Well, they've both faced a lot of criticism.
That's true.
They've both had to change with the times. And they're both dealing with this, like, weight of their legacy.
Oh, wow.
It's a lot to carry.
That is a really good point.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder if Scream 7 is going to be like this meta commentary.
Ooh.
Not just on horror movies, but on like franchises in general.
Oh, totally.
And that pressure to stay relevant.
Right. I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
Reboots. Requels.
Like a sequel and a reboot all in one.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And a legacy sequel.
It's everywhere.
They're everywhere. Audiences want the familiar.
Yeah.
But they also want something new. And Scream has always been so self-aware.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if they tackle this head on.
It would be very Scream of them.
Exactly.
And it's not just the studios pushing this.
Right.
The fans are so invested.
Oh,
They analyze everything.
Every little detail.
Every casting choice.
Every plot leak.
Every possible Easter egg.
It's like they're part of the creative process now.
Whether the filmmakers want them to be or not.
Exactly.
Right.
So Scream 7 could really dive into that, you know,
Yeah.
that relationship between the creators and the audience, the anxiety around reboots and that pressure to make everyone happy.
Yeah.
It's a tough balancing act.
For sure.
And it'll be really interesting to see how they pull it off.
And we can't forget about this whole debate.
What debate?
About elevated horror versus the classic slasher.
Right.
I mean, Scream has always blended those so well.
It has.
You get the scares, but you also get the humor and the meta commentary.
And let's be real.
Yeah.
Some pretty brutal kills.
They don't hold back.
Nope.
So where do you think Scream 7
Yeah.
will land on that spectrum?
Ooh, good question.
Will it be super meta?
Like a satire almost of horror and franchise culture?
Or will it go back to basics?
Yeah.
Like a straight-up slasher?
No, what do you think?
What do you think out there listening?
What kind of Scream do you want?
And what about Kevin Williamson?
Oh, yeah, he's back.
He's back in the director's chair.
After a few films away.
Right. I mean, he's the one who started it all.
He created Scream.
It's his baby.
Yeah.
So do you think he'll try to, like, recapture that magic of the original? Or will he take the franchise in a totally new direction?
I don't know.
It's exciting.
It is.
But also a little nerve-wracking.
I get it.
This franchise means so much to so many people.
Me included.
Yeah, it's more than just a series of horror movies.
It's a cultural phenomenon.
It really is.
It inspired so many other movies.
In filmmakers.
And it's still going strong.
That's amazing.
It really is.
And at the heart of it all is Gale Weathers.
Yeah.
She's been there from the start.
Let's do it all.
I can't wait to see what happens to her.
Me neither.
Will she finally find some peace?
After all the trauma?
Yeah. Or is she going to have to face Ghostface again?
Her fate is a huge mystery going into Scream 7.
It is.
But no matter what,
Yeah.
one thing is certain.
What's that?
Gale Weathers is a survivor.
She is.
She's a force to be reckoned with.
And I don't think she's done fighting.
Not even close.
Well, that about wraps up our deep dive
on Courteney Cox and Scream 7.
It's been a wild ride.
It has.
Talking about all the fan theories.
Analyzing those character arcs.
And trying to figure out
what's next for Scream.
Thank you so much for listening.
And joining us on this journey.
And as we wait for Scream 7 to hit theaters, we want to leave you with this question.
Okay.
What do you think Gale's return says about horror today?
Is it stuck in the past?
Clinging to familiar faces?
Or is it proof that horror can change?
Reinvent itself.
And keep surprising us?